Good evening, everyone. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates coming to you live from the Crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 6:02 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time in Salt Lake City, the Intermountain West, the high desert of the Southwest. Actually, it's not Southwest. It is the West, Western United States. We appreciate all of you that are joining us here in our chat rooms, who will join us later during this program, or those of you who will join us on a delayed broadcast basis. Please know how much we care for you and how much we love you. You guys are integral to our program and to the success of the message that we want to share with you and the world. Please know that, and please share this program high and low. Those of you that still want to support our program, we have different ways of doing that. You can either make donations to the program, Emergency Management Associates, here on the Freedom Revolution Network. You can also make donations to the PayPal Me referral on our show page, and you can also find it on any of the other show descriptions on any of the YouTube presentations. You can find our PayPal link there. You can also email us at emergencymanagementassociates@gmail.com. The EMA show actually at freedomrevolutionnetwork.com. You can also reach us at P.O. Box 526, that's P.O. Box 526, Sandy, S-A-N-D-Y, Utah, 84091. That is the way you can reach us. We appreciate all of your cards and letters. We have a whole slew of cards and letters that we have gotten from you during the past 30 days and even back way before Christmas. we started receiving a lot of cards and letters. We want to tell you how much those mean to us and to our family. Thank you so much for your support. Now, the information that I have for you tonight is going to blow a lot of people away. A lot of people are going to go, where in the world did Ron get this information? Because it is information that heretofore I thought that the things that I'm going to discuss with you were going on. And now I've got the information, the evidence to prove what I am talking about. I am deeply disappointed in the leadership of the world. I'm deeply disappointed in the past leadership of the United States of America. And I am very pissed off at the deep state. And I know there are people from the deep state that watch and listen to this program. So those of you that don't like it, tough luck. Period. I'll repeat that, tough luck. Because I, for one, and I don't think I have too many people that disagree with me, but to quote a former president of the United States, I am tired of being lied to. You can't kick Ron Tyler around anymore. And I won't allow it. Now, I want to thank the people that make our show possible at the Freedom Revolution Network. I love and appreciate each of you. I appreciate you being part of our program. I appreciate everything that you've done to make this program possible. And I hope that you agree with what we're going to tell you tonight, tell all of you tonight. But the views and opinions of the Emergency Management Associates are purely our own opinions and possibly don't reflect that of the owners and operators of the Freedom Revolution Network.com. But this is our program here. Emergency Management Associates is our program. And I'm going to do with my program, our program here, your program, how we want it to happen. Now, before I get into the meat of tonight's program, I am going to read to you a directive from the governor of the great state of Utah in the United States of America. And I realize this is about the coronavirus. And some of you are damn tired of hearing about it. And unfortunately, right now we have to live with it, but the things I'm going to tell you are not going to be nice. They're not going to be nice. You may not even like the governor's statement. And before I read that, there are 11 governors now, 11 states in the United States of America that have ordered a home stay lockdown, a stay-at-home lockdown in 11 states. The last one was Idaho yesterday, and it went into effect early this morning. And you're not going to like the conditions that the state of Idaho imposed, and you're not going to like the conditions that the state of Idaho imposed on their citizens. You're not going to like the state proposal in California that's been underway since the beginning of the week. Because the state of California is more drastic than anything I've ever seen. Now, the state of Utah is not under a lockdown order right now. They're not under a lockdown order right now. But Governor Herbert has made it clear that they can change things at any moment. Now, with that said, the state of Utah is not under a lockdown order. However, local health officials in any county can issue a lockdown for their county. And it could still be forthcoming from Salt Lake County, or any county for that matter in Utah, or any county or any state in the United States of America. The lockdown, I don't believe, is necessary, and I will explain why in a very few minutes. But first, I want to read to you what the governor of Utah said this afternoon. The following is a directive to the state of Utah from Governor Gary R. Herbert this afternoon. He says, I would like to thank all Utahns who are already doing their part to slow the spread of COVID-19. These efforts are making an impact. It is time for us to do more. I expect all Utah residents and businesses to follow these directives. They are necessary to keep Utah residents safe during the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. They will certainly result in disruptions to our lives that cannot be avoided. Those disruptions are a critical part of keeping ourselves safe. Following these directives now will avoid greater hardship later. These directives establish minimum statewide standards after consultation with and the consent of local state authorities who may impose more stringent directives and orders to address the unique situations in different areas of Utah. These directives are not to be confused with a shelter-in-place order. The following directives are in place until 11:59 p.m., April 13th, 2020. Directives for individuals. The following directives for individuals are effective immediately. All individuals stay home as much as possible. Work from home whenever possible. Encourage socializing by phone and video chats, just like we talked about last night. Self-quarantine for 14 days after traveling or being exposed to an individual presenting symptoms of illness consistent with COVID-19. Engage in appropriate social distancing, including maintaining a 6-foot distance at all times from other individuals when in public. Not shaking hands with other individuals. Not visiting friends or family without urgent need. Not attending any gathering of any number of people except for members of the same household or residence. Follow strict hygiene standards, including washing hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And that's hot water, as hot as people can stand it. Using hand sanitizer frequently, avoiding touching your face, covering coughs and sneezes with your sleeve or elbow, not your hands. Regularly cleaning high-touch surfaces, buttons, door handles, counters, light switches, etc., and following any other standards promulgated by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Utah Department of Health, and applicable local health departments. Help others as reasonably appropriate to practice all the same principles. High-risk individuals. High-risk individuals means any individual who is 60 or older, or any individual with serious underlying medical conditions. Interactions with high-risk individuals. Limit physical interactions with high-risk individuals. Limit visits to hospitals, nursing homes, and other residential care facilities. Actions by high-risk individuals. Limit travel to only essential travel as defined below, including to perform work if you cannot telework. Limit visiting friends or family without urgent need. Limit physical interactions with other high-risk individuals, except for members of your household or residence. Limit recreational travel. Limit attending gatherings of any number of people outside your household or residence. Do not visit hospitals, nursing homes, or other residential care facilities. Children, do not attend school outside the home. Do not arrange or participate in any in-person play dates or similar activities. Do not allow children on public playground equipment. Do not dine out except for carry-out or delivery. Schools may send home food. Time spent outside. Maintain a distance of at least 6 feet away from another person at all times while outside. Exercise outside while maintaining 6-foot distance from another person and without touching common areas. Do not congregate at trailheads and other outdoor spaces. Do not travel to or participate in activities at any of the following locations: places of public amusement or public activity, public swimming pools or gyms and fitness centers. Travel. Limit travel only to essential travel. Essential travel means travel to, safely relocate by an individual whose home or residence is unsafe, including individuals who have suffered or are at risk of domestic violence, or from whom the safety, sanitation, or essential operations of the home and residence cannot be maintained. Care for a family member or friend in the same household or another household, including transporting family members or friends. Transport a child according to existing parenting time schedules or other visitation schedules pertaining to a child in need of protective service. Care for pets, including travel to a veterinarian. Seek emergency services. To obtain medications and medical activities services. Donating blood. Obtain food, including delivery or carry-out services, beverages, alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and grocery items, gasoline, supplies required to work from home, and products needed to maintain the safety, sanitation, and essential operation of products needed to maintain the safety, sanitation, and essential operation of homes and residences, businesses, and personally owned vehicles, including automobiles and bicycles. To perform work if you cannot telework. Engage in recreational and outdoor activities, laundromats and dry cleaners, and return to home or place of residence. All of these are essential travel means to travel to those destinations. Recreational and outdoor activities in parks. Remain at least 6 feet apart from individuals from other households while engaging in outdoor activities. Walking, hiking, running, biking, driving for pleasure, hunting, or fishing. Do not congregate at trailheads, parks, or other outdoor spaces. Do not engage in close contact or team sports. Do not go to or engage in activities at a state park located outside the county in which you reside. The availability of national parks will be determined in consultation with the National Park Service and the county within, or the park in which the county is located. Exemptions to directive for individuals. Individuals without a home who may be between emergency shelters, drop-in centers, and encampments. Otherwise, law-abiding residents of encampments under 10 people should not be subject to disbandment by state or local government. However, individuals experiencing homelessness may be abated to maintain public health as per local health departments. Directives for profit and nonprofit organizations. The following directives for profit and nonprofit organizations are effective at 12:01 a.m. on March 30th. Respond in a flexible way to varying levels of disease transmission in the community and refine business response plans as needed. Consider how best to decrease the spread of COVID-19 and lower the impact in the workplace. This may include activities in one or more of the following areas. A, reducing transmission among employees and volunteers. B, maintaining healthy business operations, and C, maintaining a healthy work environment. 3, encourage and enable employees and volunteers to telework from home. Only employees or volunteers who perform work that cannot be done from their home should be exempted from teleworking. Utilize video conferencing and virtual meeting services. Implement policies for employees and volunteers who cannot telework, including requiring employees, let's back up. Utilize video conferencing and video messaging services. Implement policies for employees and volunteers who cannot telework. Including requiring employees and volunteers who present symptoms of illness consistent with COVID-19 to stay home. Implement policies for employees and volunteers who cannot telework, including requiring employees and volunteers who present symptoms of illness consistent with COVID-19 to stay home, not requiring a positive COVID-19 test result or healthcare provider's note for employees or volunteers who stay home due to illness. In other words, your employer cannot require a healthcare provider's note if you're home sick. Okay, in just a second, I'm just checking on something real quick here. Wow. Okay, I'm still putting together some information here for you. Okay. Just another moment, please. Okay, I'm happy to report that I am on the air. Okay. So what is going on is they're trying to enhance social distancing, folks. Enhancing social distancing by grouping employees and volunteers into cohorts, groups of no more than 10 individuals that have limited contact with other members of the group in the workplace. Enabling employees and volunteers to follow directives for all individuals, as well as described above, providing hand soap, hand sanitizer, or sanitizing wipes, minimizing face-to-face contact with high-risk employees and volunteers, or assigning work tasks to high-risk employees and volunteers that allow them to maintain a safe distance of at least 6 feet from other workers, customers, and visitors, or to telework if possible, and implementing flexible work hours, staggered shifts. 6, assess essential functions and the reliance that others in the community have on services or products offered. Be prepared to change business practices if needed to maintain critical operation. Identify alternative suppliers, prioritize existing customers, or temporarily suspend some of your operations if needed. Let me read that again. Be prepared to change business practices if needed to maintain critical operations. Identify alternative suppliers, prioritize existing customers, or temporarily suspend some of your operations if needed. Identify alternate supply chains for critical goods and services. Coordinate with companies that provide your business with contract or temporary employees or volunteers about the importance of sick employees and volunteers staying home and encouraging them to develop non-punitive leave policies. Coordinate with business partners about your response plans. Share best practices with other businesses in your communities, especially those in your supply chain, chambers of commerce, and associations to improve community response efforts. Take measures to accommodate high-risk individuals in the workplace. Exemptions to directives for profit, non-profit organizations. These directives do not apply to the following: healthcare professionals, law enforcement officers, and first responders, faith leaders and workers, including an official worker or leader in a house of worship or other places of worship, religious expression, or fellowship, wherever their services may be needed. Faith leaders and workers also include a worker necessary to plan, record, and distribute online or broadcast content to community members. Charitable or social services organizations, including workers supporting organizations that provide food, shelter, prescription delivery, mental health, and substance abuse treatments, and other social services, as well as necessities of life for individuals in need of such services. Older adults who live alone, people with disabilities, and those who need assistance as a result of this emergency. Now, therefore, I, Governor Gary R. Herbert, Governor of the State of Utah, March 27th, 2020, issue this directive, Gary R. Herbert, Governor. That is the directive that the Governor of the State of Utah has issued. Now, before I get into the seismic part of our program, I need to speak to you folks, all of our viewers and listeners here in the United States or other parts of the world that may be affected by the coronavirus. I'm sorry that I am having to interrupt part of our program to talk about this, because many of you are quite fed up with it, of which I can't blame you, because I am too. But I am subject to the directives of my state, as you are subject to the directives of yours. And some of your states, including, I just was told, North Carolina, has also been under statewide shutdown, effective immediately. That just came across, and I'll go into that in a few minutes. Hospitals, and I can't say hospitals. The powers that be that run hospitals and the governments of the cities and states where hospitals are have been overreacting to the COVID-19 pandemic. And I will tell you why in just a few minutes. This is all part of this entire presentation that I put together. And I've been doing research all day long about this. I now know what I'm talking about. I spoke about this yesterday and told you that I was in the process of putting all this information together, getting all the ducks in the row. And now I believe I have many of the ducks in a row. And I'm going to share this information with you. And I'm going to tell you why our governments have done what they've done and have done it wrong. They violated our rights. Here in the United States, they violated our civil rights, and they violated the Constitution of the United States. Man, I don't like to do this. All of my life, I have spent trying to make things right for people, including myself. And when I know that our rights have been violated, I have done everything in my power to stop the violation of law. Now, I want to tell everyone that part of tonight's presentation I got from Lisa Haven. I also did the research to back it up. But you guys need to know what is going on. And Lisa Haven did a presentation today that spelled it out. And if you want to go back and listen and watch her presentation after this one, after our show's over, you can do that. I highly recommend it. But things have happened, and you guys need to know about it. I'm not going to mince words. I don't mince words. As you know, those people that have been around me for the past year that I've been on the air know that I tell it like it is. I'm a straight shooter. I don't mince words. I don't beat around the bush. I tell it like it is. And some people that haven't liked it, they've taken a hike, and that's fine. That's fine. But I'm also not going to put up with any shenanigans. the information that I have for you is vital. It's vital for our lives going forward. It's vital that we understand what is going on so that we can fight for our own rights. Because if we don't, we're screwed. And we're screwing ourselves, we're screwing our families, and we're screwing our children. Okay? Now this might be a little hard to take, and if you guys think it is, I'm sorry. But like I said, I'm not going to mince words. I think you need to hear this, or I wouldn't say it. Because quite frankly, I'm done being bossed around by the government. Some of you that know me know that I have put up with baloney from my own boss that was in San Diego, and we fought him. We fought him tooth and nail. And we won for a short time. He thought he won. But when it all came down to brass tacks, he lost, and he could have lost big time. Unfortunately, that's his mistake. Now I'm going to show you a series of slides. I'm going to show you a series of slides. This first slide, as you can see it, is from Lisa Haven, and she has her own online presence at restrictedrepublic.com. But she says, bang, officials have misled intentionally to lock us down. Officials have misled us intentionally to lock us down. Okay, this is from 2018. Flu patients leave Texas hospitals strapped. This was 2 years ago. Widespread flu activity left hospitals overwhelmed with patients. But high emergency room volumes and filled hospital beds are not uncommon for this point during the flu season, hospital officials said. And this was in January 11th, 2018. January 11th, 2018. I don't know why this one isn't coming up. Deborah Birx, who is one of President Trump's healthcare advisors that is part of the coronavirus task force here in the United States, said the coronavirus data is not matching the extreme predictions. Deborah Birx, who is part of President Trump's coronavirus task force, has said that the coronavirus data does not match the extreme predictions that have been put out. Again, this is another case. This was back in 2017. Flu cases overwhelm South Shore Hospital emergency room. Okay. Again, flu cases have been going on for years and years and years. And this time of year, the emergency rooms and other parts of a hospital have been swamped. Every hospital Here's another one. Nurse shortage forces NHS hospital to shut critical care beds. This has been going on for quite a while. It's nothing new. New York City is not an apocalyptic war zone, contrary to what Democrats and the mainstream media would have you believe. Okay, it's contrary to the narrative being advanced by the mainstream media and the Democrat communists. The nation's largest city has not been divided into competing districts like some sort of dystopian movie. This is according to Todd Starnes. This was just put out today. New York City is not an apocalyptic war zone, contrary to what the Democrats and the mainstream media would have us believe. Overcrowding in Nebraska's prisons is causing medical and mental health crisis. This was August 2017, 3 years ago. And yet they're saying our hospitals now are overcrowded and can't take any more patients. I'm calling their bluff. Here's another one. Providence St. Peter Hospital needed more patient beds. Why did it take so long? This was from February 2019. Hospitals have been experiencing shortages for a long, long time. This is nothing new. They would have us believe that our hospitals and care facilities are completely full and can't take any more patients. Well, guess what? The investigation that Lisa Haven has done, and the investigation that I have done today, and even some yesterday, tells me that not only can not only can hospitals take more patients because there's room for them, our leaders and the mainstream media has been lying to us. They've been lying to us through their teeth. And like I said, I for one am damn tired of it. And you're not going to kick Ron Tyler around anymore. The former president, President Richard M. Nixon, said, "You're not going to kick Dick Nixon around anymore." Well, I'm saying the same damn thing. I'm tired of it. I'm fed up with it. Someone also told us today that this is not a healthcare war zone. President Trump, in past days, multiple times in past days, has said that we are in a healthcare war zone, that this is a war. Okay, I agree to a point that we need to conquer this virus. But quite honestly, it's not the war zone that has been painted for us. And I'll tell you why. Right now, there are 481 cases of COVID-19 in Utah. We've now had 2 deaths. A young person has died. But our hospitals, like I said, are not overcrowded. They're still taking patients. If they were overcrowded and they didn't have the beds as we have been told in the past 2 weeks or even 3 weeks. It's been a lie. Dr. Andrew Fauci, whose picture we showed you just a few minutes ago, has said just a second, let me bring this up. I want you to see it. This is Dr. Andrew Fauci. You recognize him. That's because he's on the president's healthcare coronavirus task force. He said, let me look for the direct quote here. I don't want to get it wrong. This is in the New England Journal of Medicine. The coronavirus is less severe than the flu. The New England Journal of Medicine, Dr. Andrew Fauci, who's on the president's coronavirus task force. It's less severe than the flu. Okay. Today, Britain downgraded the coronavirus. It's no longer classified as a highly dangerous disease. The Imperial College scientists in Britain predicted that there would be 500,000 coronavirus deaths. That's now been downgraded to less than 20,000 deaths. In other words, the numbers up until now were fabricated to lock us down. The numbers that we had been given were fabricated in order to lock us down. The UK, Britain, had their country shut down for about 2 weeks now. They predicted at the time that there would be at least 500,000 deaths. They've downgraded it to 20,000. That's substantial. That's substantial. Coronavirus data is not matching the extreme predictions that they gave us. Let me give you some information here. This is information for all of you guys to chew on. Yeah, I said chew on. Think about it. And think about where we are at today. Remember the H1N1 virus several years back? 60.8 million people were infected. $274,000 people required hospitalization. 274,000 people required hospitalization in that 1 year. 12,500 people died in 1 year. Now, these are worldwide figures, not United States figures. Tuberculosis killed 1.6 million people in 2017. Where are we at? I really want to know. Where are we at? I'm going to tell you where we're at. I'm going to show you where we're at. Let me bring it up. I think you're going to get blown away. Today, they would want to tell us that we have 595,000 people that have been exposed to the coronavirus. They would have us believe that there's 595,000 people that have been exposed, 595,952 cases of the coronavirus. So far, there have been 27,341 deaths. Okay. Only 12,500 people died in 1 year from H1N1. In 2017, from the tuberculosis virus, 1.6 million people died around the world. Today, we've had 133,057 cases that recovered. Over 27,000 people have recovered on their own. Excuse me, not 27,000, that was deaths. 133,057 have recovered on their own. Active coronavirus cases are 435,554. 412,035 people have had mild conditions from the coronavirus. 23,519 are in the hospital with serious or critical conditions. But we've had over 133,000 people recover. I, by the way, am damn tired of being fed lies. Here in the United States, we've had 103,729 people exposed to the coronavirus. 18,294 new cases because we are testing more people. Total deaths in the United States are 1,693. That's in addition to 398 over yesterday. 398 more people died since yesterday. Total recoveries here in the United States, 2,522, 2,522. We have 99,514 active cases. That's more than China reported. They reported 3,128 active cases. Of course, we know they lied. They reported 74,971 recoveries. They've only reported 3,295 deaths. US has reported 1,693 since it really got going in January, at the end of January, here in the US. I am appalled by these numbers. China lied. I believe a lot of these numbers are overinflated. Overinflated. Where's the outcry? Okay, where's the outcry? Look at the numbers from 2017, 2018, and 2019 that I gave you a few minutes ago. The numbers were higher for H1N1, tuberculosis, than they are with these numbers right now. And yet we are being locked down. We have a right to be pissed off. We have a right to be pissed off. I am tired of it. I'm tired of being pissed on, folks. And that's what I feel has been done. And I'm tired of it. We're being lied to and fed a pack of bunk. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We need to get this information out there. I want you to share this and make it go viral. Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on DLive, whether it's on Periscope or iHeartMedia, wherever. Share this video and make it go viral. Okay? We need everyone to see it. If we don't, then we deserve to be locked down. If we are locked down for the time that President Trump or anybody else wants us locked down, and our state's governors could keep us locked down after Easter because they want it, because they're communists, folks. These are communists taking over a country. They're the deep damn state that I despise. And Barack Obama, if you listen to this, or any of your cohorts listen to this, I despise you. I despise all of you people that have done this to citizens of the United States. If we don't do something about it, then we deserve what we're going to get. We need to do what we can to keep this country alive. If we don't, we deserve whatever we get. I'm telling you, if we don't, we deserve whatever we get. And quite frankly, I'm not going to put up with it. There is a Democrat senator. His name is Ted Lieu, L-E-L-I-E-U, Ted Lieu, Democrat from, of course, the People's Republic of California. He said that hospitals have reached their limit on ventilators. That's not true. The research so far that I have said that the hospitals have plenty of ventilators. Yeah, they have plenty of ventilators. Governor Cuomo in New York says he doesn't. His state needs more ventilators. Governor Cuomo, we all need to know the truth. Don't lie to us anymore, because we're going to hold you and all of your communist Democrat friends feet to the fire. Yes, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. And right now is the beginning of this fire I have lit it, as has Lisa Haven and other people. Okay? And we plan on holding your feet to the fire. And if you think we're kidding, try us. Go ahead and make our day. Now, I am not, I don't want, and I am not going to allow within my power. And yes, I don't have any power, but guess what? I'm going to have my power, and I have power right now. I have the power of the media here on this alternative media. And I'm exercising my power by the use of my voice to stand up for what is right. We don't need a Great Depression. We've had one of those. We don't need another one. And we're not going to tolerate another Great Depression. We are not going to allow you to kill a lot more people. We're not going to allow you to kill more millions of people. But again, like I said, if we, the citizens of this country and citizens of this world, don't stop this, then we deserve what we get. This isn't just a pandemic, folks. If we don't stop this, this is going to be our economic and physical deaths. And President Trump has alluded to that. He wants people to return to work by Easter or before. And there are people that have recovered from this virus, however minor or serious it was. There are people that have recovered and want to go back to work and want to get our country back on a better economic footing. And those of you that are well enough to do it, I say do it. Go back to work and put this country back on an even keel like it was before this crap started. Before the New World Order communists, Democrats, the deep state started it. It needs to stop. Yes, the people that are sick should stay home. The people that are sick seriously or critically should be in the hospital. That there are plenty of facilities to take care of them. The Democrat communists are in a battle for control. And we're not going to let it continue. It's my promise that any of you that want to stand with me, that I ask for your help to share this video and make it go viral. Because we can bring this country back to an economic footing. We can bring this country back to where it was before these communists, these hellions, started this. Like I said, North Carolina has now been put on a 30-day stay-at-home order effective Monday at 5 p.m. This crap has got to stop. Okay? I want it to stop. You want it to stop. It has to stop. Now I'm going to read you some information that I got here. I'm just going through some stuff here. I want to tell you how much I appreciate all of your help in giving me and sending me updated information. It means a great deal. And it's allowed me to bring this information to you. And I want to thank Lisa Haven for the great job that she does in helping get this information out and dissecting the lies that are out there. Okay, this is a breaking military alert. What do you suppose the odds are for coincidence that both the United States and Russians have ballistic missile ships sailing around in the Pacific Ocean right now? What do you think is a coincidence? President Trump has signed an executive order authorizing military to mobilize up to 1 million reserve units, effective immediately. President Trump announced that he has implemented the Defense Production Act. Okay, he did that the other day. He's following through with it. He's mobilized 1 million soldiers, the reserve units. What is that? It's called the National Guard. It's called the National Guard. It's unreal. This is unreal. China. We talked about Russian and U.S. military units in the Pacific Ocean. Our U.S. military warships have been transiting the West China Sea for years. Well, China this afternoon unleashed what amounts to an EMP on our warships over in the West China Sea to disable them. One, so their tracking wouldn't be effective. Their navigating features, their navigation features would be disabled. Yeah, China can do that. So can the United States. We can disable frequencies and guard and tracking and navigating systems. I hope we can get our ships out of the West China Sea and take punitive actions against China. Folks, this is serious business. This is business. This affects each and every one of us. I keep getting information from all of you, my friends and family here, information regarding earthquakes and seismic activity around the world. I have no problem sharing it with you. No problem at all sharing it with you. I just got notice that 3 more earthquakes have hit Utah. And yet, our government says there's only one, a 2.6. It happened earlier today. Really? Folks, there are a lot more than that. There are a lot more than that. This is where the original earthquake originated, Magna, Utah. There's 9 earthquakes right here in Magna, Utah. Guess what, folks? We've got 5 more, at least. Okay. I just was notified that there's 3 more. These 4 miles west, northwest of Salt Lake City. West, northwest of Salt Lake City, getting closer to downtown. That one was a 1.23. Let me turn the light down on this phone so you can better see this. I'm sorry about that. That one was a 1.23 magnitude quake. One nearly next to it is a 0.54. The one south of it is 0.81. South of that is a 1.38. Sorry. A 1.38. And the one here is a 1.11. That's not the only ones. That's not the only ones. Direct from the Salt Lake Tribune, 2 magnitude 3 earthquakes, 3.0 earthquakes rumbled, but these tremblers came from closer to Salt Lake City, closer into the city. A pair of magnitude 3+ earthquakes, 3.0 earthquakes, jolted Salt Lake City Thursday morning, adding to the sequences of hundreds of aftershocks associated with the big March 18th 5.7 magnitude earthquake that I believe was at least a 6.0. Okay, but these earthquakes appear to be migrating east of the original epicenter near Magna. Now, I will tell you, when I first got woken up, that 709 earthquake, that 5.7, they said it was a 6. And they said it was located on the east side of the city at the shoreline of what they call the Bonneville Lake, or Lake Bonneville, that used to exist here. Lake Bonneville covered the entire Salt Lake Valley thousands of years ago. And on the east side of Salt Lake City, you can actually see the shoreline of that old lake. That shoreline is now called the Wasatch Fault. And that's where the earthquake was on the northeast side of Salt Lake City, up near the University of Utah. That's where it said the epicenter was, and they quickly changed it down to Magna, where they're reporting that earthquake originated. And yes, I understand that that was a preliminary location. This is a seismogram or seismographs, the instruments that they put out all over Salt Lake City, and there are hundreds of them that record earth movement all around Salt Lake Valley. And that valley's huge, folks. It's huge. And they just got through yesterday installing about 100 more. According to the University of Utah seismogram stations, a magnitude 3.3 struck at 10:12 a.m. this morning, followed by a magnitude 3 about 14 minutes later. There were 2 in a burst of 8 aftershocks through mid-afternoon. Thursday centered on Salt Lake's west side. They're more shallow and closer to the surface so that they feel different. Some of them have been as little as about 1.5 miles to 3 miles deep. Some of them have been as much as 16 to 15 miles deep over the past week. But now they're shallower and even closer. And depending on where you're at when these earthquakes hit, will depend on whether you're going to ever feel them. Up where I'm at, in the southern part of the Salt Lake Valley, we're not feeling these 2s and 3s. Occasionally, we'll feel a light rumble, but that's all. But if it's a light rumble, it's near us. These haven't been near us. Even the 5.7 felt like a 4.0, maybe a 4.5, where I live now, on the opposite side of the Salt Lake Valley. Okay, but it's not expected for aftershocks to migrate to adjacent places over time, but it's happening. It's very telling when that happens that the seismic energy is moving. And that's what they're saying in this article in the Salt Lake Tribune. As of 4 p.m. Thursday, Utah has experienced over 560 aftershocks over 8 days since the initial 5.7 magnitude earthquake, according to the USGS. Most could not be felt, but up to 32 earthquakes exceeded a 3.0 magnitude quake. It is normal for the size of an earthquake zone to expand with time, according to seismologists at the U. It may feel different because of the different locations, but it doesn't mean we are significantly more at risk for a big one, meaning a big earthquake. This tweet comes from the USGS. Change in the pattern of shaking across the Salt Lake Valley. The earthquakes this morning might feel strangely different than the quakes you felt earlier in the week. This morning's earthquakes are part of the ongoing Magna sequence. Magna is the name of the town where these earthquakes originated. Okay, the Magna sequence is what they're calling it. The aftershock pattern has changed slightly this morning, but it has changed slightly. It's an ongoing tweet here. The aftershock pattern has changed slightly this morning, but this is still normal behavior for an aftershock sequence. It is normal for the size of an aftershock zone to expand with time. It may feel different because of the different locations, but it does not mean we are significantly more at risk of a larger quake. Thursday's burst of seismicity has opened a new pattern in the sequence of aftershocks, each representing a shift in the Earth's crust. These aftershocks are a response to the new stresses created by the original 5.7 earthquake. The first aftershocks in Salt Lake appeared March 20th and grew in frequency and intensity, reaching what could be a climax today. Okay, now the first aftershocks did not start on the 20th. They started on the day that it happened, March 18th. So the Tribune took editorial license to say that it started and grew in frequency on that March 20th. It did not. We had aftershocks on March 18th, immediately, literally immediately after the original quake, because moi felt them. I felt them. Okay, the cluster moved east from the previous activity, north of magma, according to seismologist Jamie Farrell. They are a bit shallower, whereas the magma-centered quakes were about 6 miles deep. The one in Salt Lake City occurred 3 miles beneath the surface. The region's faults are angled downward toward the west. Farrell wondered if today's aftershocks, occurred on the same fault as the main shock, just closer to the surface and thus further east. Well, folks, I'm going to show you something. I hope to show you something. I tried saving this earlier. Nope, that's not it. Just a second here. There's what they call the West Valley Fault. And I will show you where that is in just a second, whether I actually was able to save the page. I took a photograph of the page, a screenshot. I took a screenshot of the fault. That's really something. Now I can't find it. That blows my mind. Okay, let me go back here to this. Let me go back here to this. I'll find it. I'll show it to you. Come on, you crazy thing. Okay. The fault if you see where these earthquakes are, okay, the fault, this is the city of Magna, okay? And the fault runs east and west, and it runs a lot further than this. In fact, the fault, I'll show you where the fault starts. Okay. The fault starts down here in what they call the Oquirrh Mountains, O-Q-U-I-R-R-E, the Oquirrh Mountains. And it goes from here and it continues east through the city of Magna, just like this. There's a fault right here. And I will get a picture and show it to you tomorrow. But it goes right through where you see these earthquakes right here, where this 20 plus or 10 plus is here, goes right up here and continues east through the city of Salt Lake City. Okay, and it goes continues all the way to the Wasatch Mountains up here. Okay, this squiggly line here that you see here goes up here and back down here. This is the original eastern side of what they call Lake Bonneville. You can see it here. That is the Wasatch Fault. Okay, so this series of earthquakes here, the fault extends from the Wasatch Mountains all the way east to the Oquirrh Mountains. It's about a 25-mile distance. Okay, there are a series of adjacent faults up and down throughout the entire Salt Lake Valley. Now, that valley of Salt Lake City encompasses everything between the Wasatch Mountains and the Oquirrh Mountains on the east and west, and the fault goes all the way up into Idaho, up into southern Idaho. Okay, that's where Lake Bonneville was. Lake Bonneville stretched from Idaho all the way down into the center of Utah, what they call Nephi, Utah. And you can look that up on a map. It's like 400 miles of fault line. Okay, it's like 400 miles of fault line. It's a great distance. And there's 7 segments to the Wasatch Fault. Now, any one of those segments could be activated. In other words, we can have a very large to a dangerous earthquake, anywhere from a 5.0 magnitude earthquake to a 7.0. 5.0 being on the end of the large scale, all the way up to a 7.0, which is a huge earthquake, a disastrous earthquake, which we're going to have. But you also need to know, and they said that this morning, the USGS and the University of Utah scientists said this morning, that the Magna Fault could activate the Wasatch. Yeah, they said the Magna Fault could activate the Wasatch Fault. Sorry, this thing itches. So we just told you about the seismicity in Utah. Any one of those 7 segments of the Wasatch Fault could be activated, or several segments could be activated. Not the whole thing, but even 1 or 2 segments, or 3 or 4, but they could be activated. Now, we have about 30 minutes left of our program today, and I'm not through by any stretch of the imagination. I want to show you Southern California. We have 50 plus earthquakes here, going from Northern California to Southern California, and another 50 plus here. This 50 plus down here is part of the Southern California desert system called the Mojave Desert. We've had over, what is it showing now? 50, 20, now it's changed to 100 there, okay? 100 earthquakes between here in Northern California at the Gorda Escarpment, the triple junction of the Gorda Escarpment. Oh gosh. The triple junction of the Gorda Escarpment, the Cascadia Subduction Zone, and the San Andreas Fault. Okay, we've had over 100 earthquakes in that area. That's a lot. That's huge. I am going to show you right now where we've had the large earthquakes today. Then we're going to come back and look at the Pacific Southwest, and then we're going to come back and look at California. Like I said earlier, last night, we are expecting a very large earthquake, upwards of 5 to 7.0 magnitude earthquake in the Pacific Northwest. We are on a watch for that earthquake. Today in northern Japan, just south of Hokkaido, we had a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. This was 25 miles south of Shizunal, Japan, Shizunal, Japan, okay? It was a large 5.1 magnitude earthquake. There's also been aftershocks, but they're only reporting a 3.8 magnitude aftershock at Urikawa, Japan, Urikawa-oki, Japan, a 3.8. Okay, that was a 5.1. Okay, they've had other earthquakes there in Japan over southeast of Honshu, a 3.9 right there. Also over in the Chichishima, Japan, in the Ryukyu Islands, they had a 4.1. 4.1 right here. Okay, we've had other large earthquakes. We had an earthquake over in central Indonesia. This was a 5.6 in central Indonesia today. And you can see there's other minor earthquakes going up into the Philippines as well. Okay, going up into the Philippines as well. These are the earthquakes in central Indonesia. These are mostly 3s and 4s, 3.8, 3.0, 4.1, 4.8, okay, mostly. 2.9, I should say, 2.6, and I just saw a 4.8 here. I wonder where that went. There's a 4.2, central Indonesia. Okay, over in Laos, Cambodia, a 3.2, 3.2, a 2.4, and a 4.4 magnitude quake. These are aftershocks of a 6.3 that hit here about October, November time period last year. An aftershock there. Going over into Tibet, China area, we had a 4.8. 4.8 there. Up into Kyrgyzstan, we had a 3.7. 3.7 there. We had a series of earthquakes over in southern China, India area actually, southern or northern Italy, 3.5, 3.5, 2.5, okay, had a series of earthquakes, a small a small bunch of earthquakes here. Going over to Iran, we had a bunch of earthquakes, 2.5s, 2.6s, 3.4s, all over Iran today. You can see them here, all over Iran. Going up north in towards the Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, we had a 2.5. I'm sorry about that. 2.5 in Azerbaijan, right next to the Caspian Sea. More earthquakes over Turkey, eastern Turkey, 2.0, 2.0. Okay, and they go all over to western Iran, where we had a 2.9 in northwestern Iran near Manisa, Turkey. Not Iran, but Turkey. I'm sorry about that. Got Iran on the brain. And then a small group of earthquakes down in the southwestern part of Turkey. And out here in the Dokanese Islands, a 3.8 Eastern Mediterranean. The Dokanese Islands, a 3.3. Going over into Greece, we have a small swarm, well, a pretty good sized swarm of earthquakes there. Notice they're all around the Aegean Sea here. They're all around the Aegean Sea. These, just so you know, 1.6 in Corinth, 1.1 over near Patras, 0.8. Patras is right here. Andravida over on the east coast of west coast, 1.8. Going over to Sicily, southern Italy, southern Italy, we have a 2.2. By the way, over at Stromboli and Mount Etna, both of those volcanoes are erupting here in Sicily. You need to know that too. We've had quite a bit of volcanic activity in and around Sicily. Over in southern Italy, we've had a 2.0 near Basilicata, or Basilicata, Italy, a 2.0, southern Italy. Northern Italy, we had a 2.6 and a 2.0 in Toscano, Tuscan Italy. Okay, two 2.0s and 2.6. I'm sorry, it keeps disappearing. 2.6 there. Going up north, Switzerland, we've had a 2.1. This is up at the Craton edge. You can see the Craton edge right here, going through this whole area. This is the Craton edge. That's why this area is getting hit. Okay, 2.1 in Switzerland, 1.30 there, 2.2. 2.2 in Switzerland there. 1.6, 1.4 still there. Doggone it. Right there at Swiss-Italy border. Down here in Spain, you can see what's happened over here on the southern coast of Spain. Southeast coast of Spain. 1.8s, 2.0s. 2.0s, 2.1 at Gibraltar. Over St. Azores, Cape St. Vincent Ridge, they have a 2.5. Again, 2.5 in the Azores. Up here in the Atlantic Ocean, we had a 3.7 off the coast of Portugal. This area is Portugal right up here. Right up here in the North Atlantic, we had a 3.7 today. Okay. Over North Iceland, we had a 3.4 North Iceland today. Look where it is. It's on the North Atlantic fault zone, North Atlantic fracture zone. Okay. Again, this is a 3.4. Going over to the United States of America. Look what happened around Puerto Rico. Around Puerto Rico. Okay, 20 plus earthquakes in the southwest part of Puerto Rico. Over here in the Mona Strait, we had a bunch of earthquakes. And guess what? The Cayman Ridge today got hit, the Cayman Ridge. Cayman Ridge, we had a 3.77. Then south of the Cayman Ridge, southwest of the Cayman Ridge, we had a 2.8 and a 3.45. In the Mona Strait, we've had a 3.4 and a 2.6 here in the Mona Strait. Over by the Dominican Republic, Eastern Dominican Republic, a 3.0. Then look, the Dominican Republic got hit today. Pretty good too. Let's start up here north at the Cayman Ridge. We had 4 earthquakes at Cayman Ridge here. A 3.5, a 3.5, a 3, a 3.3, and a 2.9. So we had 3s and a 2.9. Over here inside the central part of the Dominican Republic, a 3.2, a 3.0, 2.5, and another 3.2 there. Central Dominican Republic. 2s and 3s there. Let's move over to the United States. Well, first, over here in southern Mexico, we're still getting swarms of earthquakes. Southern Mexico. Okay, these are 3s and 4s mostly. 3s and 4s, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, 3.7, 3.9. Down here at the Mexico-Guatemala border, we have a 4.3 there. 4.3 there, Mexican-Guatemala border. And in Guatemala, we had a 3.9. Going down to Nicaragua, we had a 3.7 and a 3.3. Costa Rica, we had a 3.0. Okay, now I am passing things off in Central America. Ecuador, North Ecuador near Sangay volcano and Reventador, we had a 3.5. I'm just covering these real fast. Huánuco, Peru, we had a 4.2. Huánuco, Peru, Central Peru. Over here in Argentina, we had a 5-pointer, a large earthquake down here. This was a 5, or excuse me. This is a 5.2 in Argentina, east of the Argentine-Chilean border. Argentine-Chilean border is this natural mountainous border here, and we got a 5.2 there in Argentina. This was near Santiago del Estero province. Santiago del Estero province, a 5.2. Most of these other earthquakes are in along the border of Argentina, Chile, Socorro, Argentina 3.2, 3.4, 3.6. Socorro, Argentina, all these earthquakes here. Up north here, Chile, 3.1, and a 3.0, Antofagasta, Chile. Okay, we had a few others over in southern Chile, Coquimbo, Chile, they had a 3.5, San Juan Province, Argentina, we had a 4.3. Coquimbo, Chile is there on the west shoreline there. This is over in Argentina there, San Juan Province. South of there in Chile, a 3.6 along the shore. Just a small earthquake. And then off the coast of southern Chile, a 3.1 east or west of Lota, or Loto, Chile. Okay, let's go over to the Pacific Northwest. Pacific Northwest. Look what's happened today, folks. We have 10 plus up here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look at it. Up north in Princeton, Canada, which we know that there's a mining community up there in Princeton, Canada. Up in Princeton, Canada, today we had a 2.31. Over towards the Big Lake, Washington, we have a 1.05. 1.05. And in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, we have a 0.3 and a 0.56 in Friday Harbor. Victoria, 0.53, and over here in Friday Harbor, we have a 0.56. Okay, going over here to Big Lake, we showed you this, Big Lake, Washington got hit. Princeton, Canada is right up here. Going into central Washington, Entiat, E-N-T-I-A-T, 1.30, Entiat, Washington, 1.3. Okay, going over to Mount Rainier on the southeastern flank, a 0.1 magnitude earthquake, southeastern flank of Mount Rainier. Going south, Mount St. Helens, folks. Remember the seismogram yesterday at Mount St. Helens? It was quite active. Guess what? Let's go over to the northern flank. We have a minus 0.15, only meaning that it was above sea level. Again, that volcano is in Philly. So we have minus 0.15 and another minus 0.5 here on the northern flank of Mount St. Helens. Over at the summit of Mount St. Helens, on the rim, we have a 0.13. And just on the other side of the rim, southeastern rim, we have a 0.01 at Amboy, Mount St. Helens. Okay. Let's go down the southeastern or southwestern flank. We have a minus 0.03, again meaning it was above sea level. Over on the western side, in the foothills, western foothills, a minus 0.12. And as we saw from a video that we showed you last week, Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are both steam eruptions at both those volcanoes. Mossy Rock, Washington, a 1.21 earthquake today. Mossy Rock. That's where that is located. Okay. South of there, Kalama, Washington, a 1.22. South of there, Sweet Home, Oregon, a 0.66 and a 1.05. Two earthquakes at Sweet Point, Oregon. Let's go southwest of there, Creswell, Oregon, a 1.78. Again, now we're being told about earthquakes in Washington and Oregon. For the longest time, they were hiding earthquakes from us. Now we're finally getting to see earthquakes. Okay, Montague, California, Northern California, 1.79. South of there, over in Dunsmuir, a 2.55 earthquake there. Let's go down here. Mineral, California, Nevada-Utah border, a minus 0.18. It's up above sea level in these mountains, okay? Up in the mountains there. Let's go over to Hamilton, California, southwest of there. We have a 1.93 today. 1.93. What do we have over by Lake Tahoe? Cold Springs, Nevada. Cold Springs, Nevada. We've got a 1.0 there in Cold Springs. North of there, Garlock Empire, a 0.8 magnitude quake there. Okay, let's go south. What do we have here? 20 earthquakes, 20 plus earthquakes. Carson City, Indian Hills. Carson City, Indian Hills here. What do we have? I think we have a volcano over there, don't we? Yeah. Again, the volcanoes are getting hit. The volcanoes have got magma coming to the volcanoes. Don't let anybody try to say otherwise. Okay. We got a good swarm, a large swarm of earthquakes in and around Carson City and Indian Hills. Okay. Huge, huge, huge swarm of earthquakes. It's more like 30 plus earthquakes, not 20 plus. Okay. I'm just trying to see, I was just looking at something. There was a huge complex of buildings, some kind of power plant, looks like, just southwest of Carson City. Okay. That's interesting. Just a huge complex there, along with all those earthquakes. It's just east, excuse me, I'm sorry, just west of all these swarm of earthquakes here. Now these are 0.2s, minus 0.1, 0.3. You can see what's going on here. And here's tuftage of a volcano from a lot of years ago, thousands of years ago, probably. Okay, let's go into Northern California, folks. We've got 7 minutes of this program left. Let's leave Carson City. Let's go over into Southern California. Again, up here is the geysers. We've explained that power facility there. Let's go down San Leandro, California, 1.17. Let's go down to this small cluster here, northeast of the Bay Area. Alum Rock is 0.83, 0.66, 0.56, 0.93. Now this, oil and gas, oil and gas. Let's go down northeast of Monterey Bay. Gilroy, California, 0.79. South of there is the Pinnacles. Pinnacles, it's a volcanic area and also oil and gas. We have a 2.5 at the Pinnacles today on the San Andreas Fault. Let's go down the fault. Ojai, California. You have a 1.76 today, Ojai, California. East of there, we have a good sized swarm of earthquakes, starting at Kozo Junction, the volcano, and what is there? Devil's Kitchen geothermal power plant. There's a power plant over there. Look at all the earthquakes there, all over Kozo Junction, a bunch of ones all over Kozo Junction. South of there, swarms of earthquakes, folks. Swarms of earthquakes. Little Lake, California, going down the coast or down there, Little Lake, California here. Bunches of them here. 1.33 Searles Valley, 1.28 Ridgecrest, 1.28 Ridgecrest, 1.02 Searles Valley, 1.10 Ridgecrest. Here's a 2.03 in Ridgecrest. And I'm only touching some of them. I don't have time to identify all of them, but I want to show you what's going on. Here's a 0.68 Ridgecrest. Okay, let's drop down further into Southern California. Further into Southern California. Okay, you can see where the last big swarm was. It was out in here. 20 plus was out down in here. Let's go over to the Anza Gap, folks. Lake Arrowhead, California, 1.49. Yucaipa, 1.07. Calamasa, 1.01. 0.68 in Beaumont, California. Okay, Anza Gap, 1.40. Anza Gap is swarming here. Lake Henshaw, California. Lake Henshaw, California, east of Escondido, is 0.77 today. 0.77. Going east, northeast Borrego Springs. Northeast San Diego County, Borrego Springs, is 0.95 today. Okay, let's go down south of the Salton Sea. Yesterday we didn't have any, now we've got some. South of the Salton Sea, folks. Brawley, California, a 1.98 from the First Church of the Right in Brawley, California. The Reverend Jack from the First Church on the Right in Brawley, California. 1.98 in Brawley, California today. South of there, we have three other earthquakes. Holtville, California, a 1.48, 1.67, and a 2.80. Holtville. I did a debate tournament, was part of a debate tournament my senior year of high school at Holtville, California. And then south of there, Mexicali. Mexicali, we had a 1.45. Again, look where all these earthquakes are, folks. Look where all these earthquakes are, right along the San Andreas Fault. Every one of them, right along the fault. Okay. Even the one up at Reverend Jack's place, Brawley, California, right on the fault. Folks, that's our report. That's our report to you, but we're not quite done. Central Utah had a minor quake today. Central Utah here had a minor quake. Going over to Mentone, Texas. Remember they had a 5.0 Mentone, Texas. Here's a 2.7 aftershock, Mentone, Texas. Oklahoma. Oklahoma, where my wind comes sweeping down the plain, and the raging wheat, it sure smells sweet as the wind comes right behind the rain. Moreland, Oklahoma, 1.73. Sorry, folks, I got carried away. Mino, or Oklahoma, 1.71, Mino, Oklahoma. South of there, again, Minco, Oklahoma, 1.57. What is this over here? The northern area. The northern area. I wonder what this is. Tiptonville, Tennessee, 1.84, and Ridgely, Tennessee, at 2.18, at the northern point of the New Madrid Fault. The northern point of the New Madrid Fault here. Ridgely, Tennessee, and Tiptonville, Tennessee, minor earthquakes. Nothing there along the eastern seaboard, east coast of the United States, nothing. We go up into Canada, we have nothing up there at all. So that's the report, folks. We've been fast, we've been sweet, and we've been all over the map. Literally 100 plus earthquakes in Southern California. We showed you that. We showed you that. Guess what CNN, or no, I'm sorry, not CNN, Fox Business News. Remember me telling you earlier on in our broadcast tonight that the coronavirus was the deep state's try on getting another impeachment scam going? Fox Business, folks, I just got an update. Pay attention to Trish Regan, R-E-G-A-N, Trish Regan's report on Fox Business News tonight. They're trying to go after Trump again. False allegations. They've been false since day one. Trying to link him up with Russia, then trying to link him up with Ukraine, and link him up with this, and link him up with that. And now the coronavirus, they're trying again. The damn Democrat communists cannot leave our president alone. Let him do his job. So far, he's been doing a damn good job. Leave him alone, you Democrats. Stupid butthole people. I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away again. Anyway, I'm sorry to get upset about this stupid darn virus. It's a bunch of crap. There have been more serious stuff with the TB back in 2017. More people died and were hospitalized because of that. We thought it was gone and it wasn't. Now they're trying to make it a case against the president. These Democrats won't leave us alone. Anyway, I'm sorry for that, folks. Very sorry. I want to ask that the Lord bless you and take care of you. We love you very, very much. We do. Please know that. We will be back again tonight or in the morning or whenever a story breaks. We want you to know that. We'll be right back here to tell you about it as soon as the information comes available to us. As Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. This Friday, March 27th, 2020. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler. I hope you have a great evening, folks. God bless, and do know that we love you. Just a second here. Getting this going here for you. Good night, everybody. Take it easy.